Vegas swaggered into Indy scoffing. No Caitlin, no contest.
27-point third quarter without Caitlin Clark. Who would have thought this team can score over 20 points in a quarter without Caitlin Clark?
But 40 pulse-pounding minutes later, the champ slunk to a silent locker room.
Sophie Cunningham, 15 points for Sophie Cunningham, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Sophie Cunningham has been hot to trot. Sophie Cunningham has been on fire.
Scorched 80-70 by Sophie Cunningham's flamethrower. And while A'ja Wilson's grin evaporated, a sidelined Caitlin Clark nearly ripped up the hardwood, celebrating every dagger that proved the Fever are anything but a one-woman show. But hold that thought, because the explosion you just witnessed may have started long before the opening tip. Caitlin Clark's limited edition Kobe V Protros vanished from Nike's site in under a minute, crashing resale apps and sparking headlines about an $800 aftermarket frenzy. Fan clips of the instant sellout exploded across social feeds.
And they sold out, but some of these prices are crazy. It was rumored that 13,000 pairs, and they were gone before people could even add them to their cart.
Stamping the phrase Clark effect on every sneaker blog in existence. But listen to this. Within hours, YouTube commentators were dissecting a viral montage titled A'ja Wilson's Hidden Jealousy, complete with slow-motion side-eyes and whispered locker room rumors that the two-time MVP was tired of playing second fiddle to a rookie's spotlight. Nothing concrete, yet the video racked up six-figure views and kept the gossip cycle spinning. Wilson never addressed the chatter outright. Instead, insiders say she quietly circled the Fever matchup on her calendar as the perfect stage to reclaim the narrative. The plan was simple: walk into Indy, dominate a Clarkless squad, and remind everyone that championships beat hype every time. It gets crazier. Just hours before tip-off, a Yahoo snippet showed Wilson giving Clark a stiff, blink-and-you'll-miss-it handshake at a media scrum, fuel for fans convinced there's real frost beneath the smiles. Whether the jealousy is real or internet fiction, one truth remained. By night's end, it wasn't Clark's absence, but Vegas's silence that trended, and the whispers got a whole lot louder. Indiana limped into this game lugging a 2-loss skid to New York, and Clark's MRI confirmed every fan's nightmare: groin strain, week to week. Sports talk panels immediately retagged the Fever as Cater bust, predicting a tumble from 6th place to the lottery, while rival fan bases spammed clown emojis under every Fever post. Local radio even floated the word collapse, a harsh verdict for a team sitting at .500. But that's not all. Gainbridge tried to mask the tension with a Stranger Things theme night. Neon strobes, synth beats, the works. Yet each jumbotron cut to Clark in street clothes drew a collective wince. The arena felt like it was holding its breath, and even rookie ushers whispered that one more bad quarter could turn cheers into groans. Head coach Stephanie White, however, was ice calm. She met every worried question with the same mantra: no 5-minute lapses. Translation? Forget the scoreboard. Own each micro stretch. Survive the next possession, then the next. It sounded crazy to outsiders, but with their superstar sidelined, controlled chaos was all the Fever had left, and that mindset would soon rewrite the night. Stephanie White's first move was borderline sacrilege. She shredded almost every Clark-centric pick and roll, then installed a whirring 5-out motion where the ball could not rest for more than half a second. Possessions became pinballs. Kelsey Mitchell darting off double staggers, Sophie Cunningham ghost screening to daylight, Aaliyah Boston slipping backdoor before the aces could even shout a switch. The mandate was simple: 0.5-second decisions, catch, see, go. But listen to this. With Clark's gravity gone, Indiana's average touch length plummeted from 3.1 seconds to just over 2, their fastest tempo of the season. Vegas, built to load up on a single superstar, suddenly chased shadows. The champs logged only 4 fast break points all night because they spent every possession a half step late in the half court. By the third quarter, The Aces were burning timeouts for oxygen, while Gainbridge Fieldhouse roared at each dizzying exchange. White later called the scheme the orbit, and the name fit: 5 satellites whipping around a vacant sun, daring defenders to pick a poison. It was risky, improvised, and exactly the chaos Indiana needed, because the next chapter would demand a scorer brave enough to live or die by that orbit's open looks. For 3 grinding quarters, Kelsey Mitchell's stat line looked like a horror flick. 4 for 19 from the floor, 2 charges, a highlight reel of rimouts that had Twitter sharpening pitchforks. Each miss twitched the Gainbridge crowd. Every brick felt like the night slipping away. Then, during a hushed timeout, Coach Stephanie White pulled Mitchell close and whispered just 3 words: "Let it fly." The message landed like a thunderbolt. It gets crazier. On the very next play, Mitchell split a hedge, kissed a soft banker off glass, and the arena's pulse spiked. Seconds later, she drilled a step-back triple so pure the net barely rustled, flipping Vegas's 6-point cushion into frantic scramble mode. Confidence flooded back. She started knifing into seams, dropping no-look dimes, splashing mid-range pull-ups with the swagger of a player erasing her own narrative in real time. By the final horn, Mitchell had stacked 21 points, 9 of them in that frenzy of a fourth quarter, plus 4 slick assists that left defenders lunging at ghosts. The same feeds roasting her an hour earlier now looped her heat check montage on replay. And as she jogged off the court, chin high, it was clear. The Fever had found a closer who can scorch doubters just as fast as she burns nets. 6 games ago, Sophie Cunningham was a box score footnote. Today, she's a walking bonfire, knocking down 58.1% from deep, pouring in nearly 14 a night, and trading the spark plug label for portable volcano. Vegas prepped for her, sure, yet every closeout still arrived a tick late. But it gets hotter. Early in the second quarter, A'ja Wilson lunged to smother a wing 3. Sophie pump-faked, sidestepped, and launched a triple so clean, it left vapor trails. 2 possessions. Later, she drilled another from Steph Curry's zip code, then jogged past the Fever bench, whispering, "Microwave." She capped the evening with 15 points on 3 of 4 threes, plus 4 boards, 3 dimes, and even drew a momentum-swinging charge. Fans immediately spammed #RedHotSophie across every feed, while pundits penciled her as the front runner for 6th Player of the Year. And here's the killer. Stick to her hip, and she slips backdoor. Sag off in your target practice. That dual threat stretched Vegas's defense wider than Clark's grin and opened interstate-wide lanes for Boston and Howard to bulldoze, turning Cunningham's personal heat wave into a full-team inferno. Natasha Howard showed up looking like rent was past due, ripping the opening tip from Kaya Stokes and muscling home a left-hand scoop before Vegas had even set its defense. Aaliyah Boston matched the edge on the very next trip, burying Jackie Young beneath a screen that rattled the stanchion. By halftime, the duo already owned the paint, combining for a dozen boards and a pair of swatted layups that sent Aces guards sprinting back in fear of the next collision. But that's not all. Mid-third quarter, Indiana uncorked a 27-13 avalanche, and the wrecking crew in the middle was the epicenter. Howard hoovered every loose ball, finishing with 18 points, 13 rebounds, 3 steals, while Boston stacked a 14-11 double-double and stamped 2 more rejection notices at the rim. Their brute work throttled Vegas to just 34% shooting in the paint during that stretch and limited the champs to a grand total of 4 second-chance points all night. The result? A'ja Wilson was forced into fadeaways she didn't want. Vegas's vaunted transition game never found oxygen, and Indiana's guards got runway after runway to turn rebounds into instant offense. When the smoke cleared, the Aces hadn't just lost the battle on the glass. They'd been physically overpowered, mentally rattled, and statistically buried by a front line that decided the lane belonged to the Fever. No permission slips accepted. Gainbridge Fieldhouse crackled with 35 ticks left on the clock, Indiana clinging to a 75-70 edge. Aari McDonald, filling Clark's shoes for the night, calmly crossed midcourt, waved off a pick, planted hard, and fired a step-back triple that carved through the air like slow-motion lightning. The net snapped, the arena erupted, and Caitlin Clark nearly somersaulted off the bench, towel helicoptering above her head. But it gets crazier. That rainbow was McDonald's only shot of the fourth quarter, yet it iced an 80-70 upset, clinched a 2-1 season series over Vegas, and may end up deciding playoff seeding. Her final line read a modest 9 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. But the highlight tape now features a dagger etched in gold. Even Sophie Cunningham, fresh off her own flamethrower act, laughed afterward. When Aari pulled up, I swear the building tilted. Vegas never scored again, and the Fever walked away with momentum, tiebreaker leverage, and a new closer nobody saw coming. Indiana's 13-12 record now plants them 6th, just 2 games out of the 3 seed, while Vegas tumbles to an uneasy 12-12 and hears footsteps behind them. Social feeds are already circling August 18th, the next Fever Aces showdown, hashtagged revenge or repeat. Analysts can't ignore that Indy suddenly owns head-to-head tie breaks over both Vegas and Phoenix. Priceless currency in a jam-packed table. But that's not all. Clark's rehab clips, light shooting, side shuffle drills have fans refreshing timelines every hour. Trainers hint 2 weeks. Merch insiders whisper bigger numbers after a report pegged her upcoming signature shoe at a projected $150 million haul. Meanwhile, each lingering rumor about Aja Wilson's rookie steals my spotlight angst finds fresh oxygen. A stiff post-game handshake, a clipped "see you soon," endless gift dissections, clickbait gold that only escalates the rivalry. Strip away the headlines, though, and the basketball truth is louder. The Fever just forged a multi-headed identity without their locomotive. A 5-out orbit keeps every defender guessing. Boston and Howard patrol the paint like bouncers, and McDonald's crunch time ice gives them a dagger on demand. Now picture all that with Clark's 27-foot gravity and 8.8 assists per night plugged back in. Opponents won't just pick their poison, they'll drown in 5 different flavors. Champions aren't forged when the stars align, they're hammered out when the universe tries to break them. And Vegas just felt the heat of that anvil. Sophie Cunningham turned Gainbridge into a blast furnace. Kelsey Mitchell rewrote her own headline in a single quarter. Aari McDonald buried a dagger so deep it might echo until playoff time, and the Howard-Boston duo bulldozed the champs straight out of the paint. But listen to this. All that firepower erupted while the league's brightest comet sat in street clothes, itching to jump back into orbit. The next time Caitlin Clark laces up, she'll return to a squad that can torch opponents from 5 angles, rebound like bulldozers, and now owns the mental edge of having slayed a dynasty short-handed. So here's your challenge, Fever Nation. Pound Red Hot Sophie in the comments. If you felt the burn, smash that like, ring the bell, and strap in, because the real storm is still gathering, and the next team in its path might not escape the fire.